Hi, I'm Bill. I'm that salty old Marine. This is my second video, and today I would like to talk about your VA benefits. This is for my veteran friends out there. We want to go back to the very beginning and talk about the things that you need to do before even thinking about filing for any VA benefits. So, two things that I want to talk about in this video. One is VA healthcare. The other is VA benefits. Now, in the Veterans Administration, these are two completely separate, distinct groups, and they don't have much to do with each other, if anything at all. So, for example, if you're receiving health care from the VA, that is not the same as filing for a disability benefit. And in fact, your doctors, your nurses, medical professionals who treat you at the VA can't really answer any questions that you might have about benefits. They may know a little bit, but they're not authorities, and they certainly don't have the ability to make decisions about VA benefits. I hear that a lot from certain veterans. They say, oh, I went to the VA and the VA told me I had this or that, and I'm waiting for my check. You're not going to get that. That's not what they do. They treat you. They don't file for your benefits. By the same token, VA benefits, which is the other point I want to raise today, talks about, deals with your actual benefits. Now we're talking about compensation, money. And that has nothing to do with your actual health care per se. So, for example, if you file for a disability because you have this or that, you will need to prove that, and you will need to provide a link to the original problem that you had in service, the current diagnosis, and make a connection between the two. But you could do all of those things without ever setting foot in a VA medical facility. You don't have to go to the VA to get your treatment in order to file a disability claim. Sometimes these things go hand in hand, but they don't necessarily, and so that's important to understand. The VA actually is made up of three separate organizations. You've got the VA cemeteries, which deals, as you might suspect, with the end of your life. So we're talking about your headstone, flag on your coffin, the rifle salute, a plaque, cremation, various other things, internment in a national cemetery in some cases. So that's the sort of thing that the VA cemetery group does. But today we're going to talk about healthcare, and we're going to talk about benefits. So we've already talked about why these two things are different. Now, before you do anything, if you are a veteran and you're thinking about your disabilities and you're thinking about filing for some sort of disability income, you should strongly consider getting registered with VA healthcare. Again, doesn't necessarily have anything to do with your benefits. However, registering with VA healthcare is probably a good idea for most veterans. Now, your eligibility varies on factors like your service history, your current income, and your disability status. You may find that you get more or less treatment depending on those things. You may wait in line more or less, again, depending on those things. The VA healthcare system divides everything up into what they call priority groups, and you'll be advised of what your priority group is. However, if you sign up for VA healthcare, even if you have private insurance now, even if you have some other form of health insurance and you don't need VA healthcare, it's never a bad idea to be registered. The VA provides comprehensive care that includes primary care, mental health care, specialty care like cardiology, oncology, neurology, things like that, rehabilitation services, home health care, which can be very important for those who are severely injured or as we all get older. Service-connected disability care, of course, and that can include things like prosthetics, hearing aids, eyeglasses, that sort of thing. Long-term care, and these can be low or no cost. Sometimes there's a copay, sometimes there's no cost at all. Again, this all varies based on things like your current disability status. But overall, it's very important to get registered with your local VA for health care. So my suggestion would be either register online or go to your nearest VA facility. Bring with you your ID. You might want to bring your DD-214 if you have it. If not, I believe they can look it up for you, and get registered. Find out where you stand with that. Even if you have your own insurance at this time, I don't think it's ever a bad idea to get registered with VA healthcare. So, having said that, let's talk about disability. Now, over the course of time, we're going to talk much, much more about disability, and we're going to get very, very in-depth with disability. But to begin with, let's talk about va.gov. So va.gov is a government website. It is a safe place to go. It's secure, and you should establish an account of your own on va.gov. Some of the things you can do there once you are registered is you can get access to your benefits. That is to say, you can apply online for benefits. You can look at your healthcare management. So, for example, if you're receiving healthcare, your appointments will be there. Messages back and forth to your healthcare providers will be there. Your medications will be there. All of that sort of thing. You can track your claims and or your appeals, or both, through va.gov. You can have secure communication back and forth with the VA. And there are a number of online tools for things like calculating your current benefits, exploring your education options, locating the nearest VA facilities, all of that sort of thing. So I would encourage you to go to va.gov, establish an account if you don't already have one. Now, when you establish your account, you're going to have to choose a method by which you authenticate, prove to va.gov that you are who you say you are. And there are a number of ways to do that. Most of those ways are going away soon, so that's important to note. Even though there may be several options listed, there's only two of them that really matter at this time. So one of them is login.gov, which is, again, a government website. Login.gov is probably, in my opinion, the best place to go to set up your authentication. So what does that mean? It means when you have an account with va.gov and login.gov, you can go to va.gov, click on login, login.gov, put in your name and your password. It'll ping your phone, for example, with a message, and you will put in a code, and then you'll be logged in. That's a good thing, and in my opinion, that's probably the best way to go about it. In addition, login.gov can give you access to other government agencies, like Social Security Administration. So if you want to get a statement, estimate what your retirement income from Social Security might be, again, login.gov will get you there, assuming, of course, that you have a Social Security account. But I digress. So login.gov is one way, and I think the superior way to get authenticated to go to the va.gov. The other way that works and is not going away is id.me. id.me. Now, id.me is, by the way, you can have both accounts. You don't have to choose one or the other. id.me is a private company, but they have partnered with the government. So if you get an id.me account and it is verified, you do have to go through some steps. I believe you have to submit a photo of your driver's license and a video of yourself, and a human being looks at it, and they might even call you and talk to you before they authenticate your account. Whatever hoops you have to go through. It might take a little time, but it doesn't cost any money. And when you're done, you can use id.me to log in to va.gov, just the same as you could with va.gov. So I would suggest either one of those, but Again, of the two, I prefer login.gov in order to get to va.gov. So those are mainly the two things that I wanted to talk about today. It's a great way to get started. If you haven't registered for VA healthcare, if you haven't got an online account with va.gov, those are probably the first two things that you would want to do. And I highly recommend doing both. You don't have to, right? You can work with the VA through the mail. You can go to the VA website and download any VA documents or forms that you might need, and you could submit them via postal mail. You can take them to the VA and submit them in person. You can go to a VSO, which is a veteran service organization, and by that I mean the American Legion, the Veterans of Foreign Wars, Disabled American Veterans, various other organizations like that who offer volunteer services. They don't cost anything. In some cases you do have to be a member. And they can work with you, and they can submit your benefit requests for you, and they can fill out the forms for you or help you fill out the forms. So it can all be taken care of. You don't have to have a va.gov login. But I think it makes things a lot easier. In this day and age, everything's conducted online. This is a government website run by the VA. It is secure, it is safe, and in my experience, it works really well. So I recommend it. Okay, so those are the two things that I really wanted to talk about today. I'm going to throw in a bonus. The bonus is this. Think about all of the things that, well, are wrong with you. Think about any injuries that you currently have. Make a list, write them down. For example, I have, at my age, high blood pressure. I have high cholesterol. I have heart disease. I have diabetes. I've got diabetic neuropathy, meaning I have shooting pains in my feet. It's nerve damage caused by diabetes. I have GERD, which is acid reflux. I take a lot of Tums at night, and I take omeprazole nonstop to try and keep the stomach acid down. I have PTSD. I'm being treated for that, by the way, by the VA. I have tinnitus. I have hearing loss. I have, a bunch of things. Write them down. Now, when I first did this, when I took an inventory of what was wrong with me, I didn't really think much had to do with the Veterans Administration or my time in the military, if anything. Maybe my tinnitus, maybe my hearing loss due to exposure to loud noises while I was in the military. That makes sense. Definitely my PTSD. It occurred while I was in the military, and therefore that is what I consider to be related to my military experience. But I didn't really think much of the other things that are currently wrong with me as to whether or not they might be disabilities that would be rated by the VA, that might be compensable as a VA disability. However, I've watched a lot of YouTube videos, and I've done a lot of reading, and I'm slowly beginning to put the pieces together. For example, high blood pressure. Now, high blood pressure can be caused by a lot of different things. It can be genetic. It can be caused by your lifestyle. It can be caused by your age. It can also be caused by stress. Now, PTSD is post-traumatic stress disorder, meaning it's something that happened to you that's very stressful. So the question is, could my PTSD have caused my high blood pressure? I don't know. I'm not a doctor. But I do know this. It's a possibility. It could be. In the world of VA disability, there's a term you're going to hear quite often, and it's called at least as likely as not. What that means is that the VA decides what is the likelihood that, for example, my high blood pressure was caused or made worse by my PTSD. So assuming that my PTSD is service-connected, and by the way, at the present time it is not, that claim is pending, but assuming that it was service-connected, and I submitted a claim for high blood pressure as a secondary claim, meaning I'm going to claim it was caused by or made worse by my PTSD, then the question the VA asks is, what is the likelihood that that is true? And the standard is something called at least as likely as not. Meaning, if a doctor offers a medical opinion that in my case, and these are specific case by case, that in my case it is at least as likely as not that my high blood pressure was caused or made worse by my PTSD, then my high blood pressure could also be service-connected. And if it is service-connected, then I would receive an appropriate disability rating for high blood pressure. Kind of an interesting thing. So, as an exercise, as homework, after you have your healthcare registration taken care of, and after you have your va.gov login set up, and you can log into your account, start thinking about what your illnesses are, and start thinking about how they might or might not be connected to your time in the military. You might be surprised. And if you're not sure, Google is your friend. Look on YouTube, Google for it. Use terms like this: high blood pressure secondary to PTSD. Just that. You'll get a lot of responses. Some will be positive, some will be negative. Some will say yes, related. Some will say no, not related. But you'll be able to pick and choose through those and see how they apply to your situation. And then you can decide whether or not something like that is something you want to do, something you want to pursue. So, until the next video, I'm going to leave you with that. I hope that you find this useful, as always. And as they say, like, share, subscribe. I plan to be here for the long haul. I plan to help every way I can for veterans to get the benefits that they're entitled to. And we'll go through that step by step. So that's it for now. This is Bill at the Salty Old Veteran, and I wish you well. See you soon.